Assalamu alaikum students, this is Farwa Batul, your O-level computer science instructor, and welcome to another video. Here we are doing activity 8.3. We are doing it third time. Why? Because I have used Python to do this activity, then I have used Visual Basic, and in this video we will be using Java as my programming language in order to sort out or solve this activity 8.3. The activity says that, let me make it big. In the high-level programming language that your school has chosen to use, write and run your own program that calculates and displays the volume of a cylinder. So let me first tell you that what is a cylinder. Here it is. A cylinder looks like this, having two circles on each of its end, and there is a length to a cylinder that can be represented as L, and there is a radius for each of the circles that can be represented with R. So if you want to calculate the volume of a cylinder, you must know that is V equals to pi R square H. This is your formula for volume of a cylinder. Now, how we can do it in terms of programming using Java as my programming language. So first of all, I will show you the code. We will understand the code and then I will go with a on a IDE for Java and we will do a practical example over there. Okay, so here we go. This is a code that I have taken from the book of O-level computer science. Now let me quickly explain you this. The first thing over here, this line is basically we are importing a library in order to use the scanner class because scanner class, the object of the scanner class is going to help you in taking input from user. So in order to import the library, you are going to use the keyword import, and next to import, you have to mention the library that you want to use. The name of the library is java.util.scanner. Now, let's go down. Here I have made a class named as cylinder because cylinder is going to be the object we are working on. So we named it cylinder. After that, there is a main function. Remember that your code must be done in the main method of your class. It can be any class. You can name any of the class, but remember there is a main method in every class in which you have to do your code because every time when the program runs, it starts from the main method. It starts running from the first line of code that you have written inside your main method or main function of the class. Now look over here. The first line says that you are here using the scanner word that is basically you are referring to a class scanner and you made an object for that class that is named as my obj. You can put it any other name as well, but keep in mind that this object is going to help you in taking the input from the user. So this whole line of code is creating an object, new scanner, and inside the brackets here, the system.in is your input statement. This is going to help us to take the input from the user, system.in. Now, once you have set the object for the scanner class, now it's very easy to take the input. We will see down. The next thing you did is you are writing a final keyword. Final means that you are declaring a constant. Constant means something that has a fixed value. So it is not a variable, it is a constant. Why? Because it has fixed value. So if you see the formula, V equals to pi r square h. Here, pi is basically your constant that has a fixed value 3.142. That's why here you can see that you have used final that is going to represent that you are declaring a constant. Then there is a data type to the constant. Since we see that it's a decimal value, so we will provide a double data type that can hold a much larger number than a float data type, and the number must be decimal. Next, we name our constant as pi, pi. Then you are assigning the value to it, that is 3.142. So we are done with the second line of code in which we are assigning a value to a constant named pi, and it has a double data type. Next, we have made here we have declared a variable that is double radius. Why? Because the radius will be taken as input from the user, so we must have to put the value of the input in some place. So radius is going to be my variable, and this variable will receive the value of radius that will be input by the user. And remember, the data type is going to be double because radius can be a decimal number. It can be any of the decimal number that the user gives us as an input. Next, you are declaring another variable that is for length, double length. It is also going to have a space where you can put user's input as length of the cylinder. So you can see in your formula that we are done with radius. We have declared a variable named radius where the user will put the radius value, and we have named. We can also write it h or l. It can be height or length of the cylinder. Both are the same things. Here, the user is going to put the length of, in the length variable, the user is going to put the, or the program actually is going to put the value of the user into this specified location that is named as length. So this is length and this is radius. My two variables are being assigned now. Next to it is system.out.println. This statement is your output statement that displays the message to the user. And what is the message? The message is we are helping the user to enter the input by showing him the display message. Please enter the radius of the cylinder. So this is going to be your first thing that will be displayed on the screen. When the user will see that please enter the radius of the cylinder, it is going to input some value, and this value, see the next statement here. This value will be my opt received by the object of a scanner class. Ed dot next double means that it will be converted into a double value. Why we are doing this? Because whatever the user gives us as an input, it will be treated as my string data type. And remember that if it is a string data type, then we cannot do any of the mathematical operation on that. We cannot do plus, minus, multiply, nothing. So we must convert our input value into double data type. For that, I have used method of next double with my scanner class object. My ops.next double will convert this 5.1 into a double data type, and then we can easily store the value in radius. So finally, the first input, the radius of the cylinder, will be stored in the variable radius. Next, you will show another display message to the user that is please enter the length of the cylinder, not a sphere. That's a mistake here. Let me just quickly write down cylinder here. So the another display message will be shown to the screen. First was the radius, then user inputs the radius, then second display message is to enter the length of the cylinder, then the user is going to give us the input of the length, and then we will convert. The input will be received in my opt, that is the object of scanner class, and then we will convert it into a double data type by using the function next double. And then whatever the value is, once it is converted into a decimal value, then we can easily store it in the variable named length. So this is how we can take the inputs of radius and length and we can store it in the specified variables. Now the next thing is double volume. Here you are declaring another variable that is named as volume, where you are going to put your final value once you calculate the volume of the cylinder. And in order to calculate it, look at the formula. Radius multiplied by radius. Why? Because if you see the formula here, it is r square. R square means you can multiply radius 2 times, then you will multiply it with the length of the cylinder. So it is multiply by length, and finally multiply by the constant pi. So this is your formula. Once you do it, then your value, let's suppose it is 123.5. The calculated value will be saved in the variable volume that has a double data type. So whatever the result is, it must be a decimal number because the radius and the length are decimal, and also the pi. So both of these, all of these inputs to this formula are the double or the decimal number. So the result will also be a decimal number, and for that we have used a double data type for volume, and we will store the answer in the variable named volume. The final thing is your output result. You are using an output statement to show that volume of a cylinder is, and then there is a plus, that's a separator, and this is volume, that is referring to the value of the volume variable. Remember that in your output statement, when you are writing it in the quotations, then the value will be printed as it is on your screen, and it will be written as volume of cylinder is. And once the quotations are end, then this volume, it is basically name of the variable, and it is not written in quotations. So remember that when the variable name is without quotations, then the value of that variable that is inside the memory space will be printed. So it will be 123.5. This is going to be your result. I hope that all of this code is clear to you. Now let me quickly go to IntelliJ, that is one of the best IDE for Java development. I will put on the code over there and I will see the result. Okay, here we go. So this is my IDE, IntelliJ for Java. Here on the left side, you can see a source folder. Inside the source folder, you can see a class named main. You can change the name of your class as cylinder, or you can keep it as it is. It's up to you. Now, what we will do, I will just go to your book, and here I will copy all of this code that is to calculate the volume of the cylinder, and we just looked on it before. So I hope the code is clear to you. I will just copy the line of code here, and then look at this. There is an error in scanner. Why? Because I did not import the library for scanner. So it will be, let me quickly import it. Import java dot util dot, let me just see if I'm making some mistake. Yeah, scanner. The S is capital. So once I do it, now you can see that I made an object for the scanner class, then I declared a constant and assigned a value 3.142. I declared two variables, radius and length, and then I am taking inputs from the user. So the first one is please enter the radius of the cylinder, and the second one is please enter the length of the cylinder. So let me quickly change the sphere into cylinder. So this will be the display message that is going to help user to get the input, to give the input. And finally, this volume must be, V must be capital, because you have made it capital over here when you are declaring the volume variable. So this is all done. There is no error. Now let me quickly run the program and see the results. Okay, here we go. We are building it. It will take a little time. Okay, I'm just putting on random values. Look at my result. The first thing to be asked is please enter the radius of the cylinder. So I will just write down, let's suppose 23.5. Press enter. Please enter the length of the cylinder. Let's make it 53.6. It is a big cylinder with a length of 53.6. And then once I press enter, I will see the result. Volume of cylinder is 93005.0852. So it is basically a decimal value, and you can verify your result by calculating the same radius and putting the radius and length into calculator and just see whether your result is fine or not. So this is how you can calculate volume of a cylinder using Java as my programming language. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope everything is clear to you. If you have any questions, you can comment below, and stay tuned, stay connected for more videos. Bye bye.